Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us on another episode of Primetime Sportz. This week we have updates on GSU soccer. One of GSU's NFL pros won Special Team Player of the Week of the month, and we'll also have football reporter Tyrik Wynn join us a little bit later. But first, Georgia State's basketball team is trying something new this season. Now, normally before every season, right after practice starts and before media day, the GSU Gym gives the fans opportunity to see the team up close and personal inside of the sports arena for the first time. Last year, head coach Ron Hunter introduced us to his alter ego, Coach 2 Hunter.
Yeah, that way. I need that pull up by Tuesday. Yeah, that way. I don't keep feel like first one. I just know I got started. Got views on views on popping. My diamonds go retarded. Yo, girl, I'm there, get your season.
Every year, Coach Hunter surprises us with some kind of performance in the middle of the sports arena. But this year, they're taking things outside. This year will be at the University Commons under the bright lights. It's on Thursday, October 11th. The event will be free and open to the public. Gates will open at 6:30, but will begin at 7 p.m. GSU's volleyball team also has some athletes that have spent some years in the sports arena themselves. Just like the GSU Gym this year, nothing was the same.
Last weekend, the women's volleyball team went 1-1. In the first game, they beat Troy 3-2, and in the second game, they lost to South Alabama 3-0. I went to practice to talk to seniors Crystal Lee and Shay Chapman about the season so far and what's next.
Being a senior, it's overwhelming, and you just want to give your best. I had an amazing 4 years here, but now the senior year is kind of like, it's very emotional, but I'm very excited for it. Every day I wake up trying to be the best that I can be for my teammates, for my other colleagues, for my coaches, and so if I can better one person every day, then that makes me happy. As a senior, one of my prime roles would be just leading by example, feeding confidence into the underclassmen, and leaving my footprint here on Georgia State. I feel this program has grown a lot since I've been here as a freshman till now. I think our biggest improvement is just finding girls with the common goal of they just want to win.
Post-grad, I'm really thinking of maybe picking up some sand volleyball, maybe working as a grad assistant here.
So I really want to open a nonprofit for mental health and kind of just share my story and hopefully impact so many other lives.
My favorite memory for the program.
So many good memories here.
Would have to be Media Day. Media Day is always the best day.
We made to the conference tournament and we just played our hearts out, and it was such an amazing experience.
The Georgia State volleyball team will face Coastal Carolina on Tuesday, October 9th at 4:30 p.m. in the sports arena. The match was originally scheduled for September 21st, but was postponed due to Hurricane Florence. From Primetime Sportz, Samaria Lofton.
There's another Lady Panther that's enjoying this season as well, but this Panther is putting the ball through the net instead of over it. Reporter Kelsey Perkins stands by with the hero from last week's women's soccer game.
The GSU women's soccer team defeated Troy 3-2 to put their 7-game losing streak to an end. I am joined by senior Brooke Smith, who scored the game-winning goal in order to secure their first conference victory. Brooke, can you please tell us what the team is feeling right now after coming off that streak and winning their game?
We're just buzzing, just to say, like, obviously we've won now. We know that we broke the streak, that's it. Like, we can only go up from here. It's just onwards and upwards now.
All right. And taking me back to the game, when there was 10 minutes left on the clock, the game was tied. What was your reaction when you saw you kick that goal and that ball, you kicked that ball and that ball hit the net? What was your reaction?
I was just buzzing. Like, I didn't think it was going to go in from the get, but obviously when it hit the net, I just went numb. Like, I just couldn't believe it. But I was thinking, well, there's like 3 minutes left. Let's go. Like, we've got it.
All right. And then what have you guys done in preparation to win against ULM tonight? How have you guys prepared against this game tonight, for this game tonight?
Well, obviously from the win, like, the atmosphere in practice has been, like, buzzing. Like, we've all been happy to be there and stuff like that. So, like, everybody's just been, like, happy, like, I guess just buzzing. Like, there's no other word, really. So we've prepared, like, we've had a good week's training, like, hard work, whatever, and now we're just ready to win again.
All right, so guys, please come and support your Lady Panthers tonight at 7 p.m. as they take on ULM at the GSU Soccer Complex. I'm Kelsey Perkins for Primetime Sportz. Back to you, Justin.
Thanks, Kelsey. It looks like the luck for both soccer teams is taking a turn. While that may be good news for the Lady Panthers, it's not so good for the men. After winning 6 in a row, making history, GSU wasn't able to keep their streak going, falling 2-1 versus Santa Clara. A former Panther and now NFL pro is also doing big things, like making some noise in the NFL on arguably the best team in the league. Georgia State's all-time leading scorer, Will Lutz, place kicker for the New Orleans Saints, now leads the NFL with 41 points scored. Lutz is 91% on field goals and a perfect 11 for 11 on extra points. Will is also the NFC Special Teams Player of September. Football reporter Tyrik Wynn is ready to join us to talk a little bit about last night's game, but first, we have to mention the football team made history in the big win last week over ULM. The Panthers scored 46 points, second most ever versus an FBS school, and 32 points was also the largest margin of victory versus any FBS school. Quarterback Dan Ellington, he set a school record in completion percentage, going 15 of 18. They also set a new rushing record with 308 yards on the ground. And freshman running back Seth Page, he held by rushing for the longest yards from scrimmage in program history with an 82-yard touchdown. Penny Hart, captain of the team, became number 2 on the all-time receptions list, and he had the first punt return for a touchdown in school history with a 49-yard touchdown. After big touchdown, that's something that hasn't been done in GSU history. After the big win, the press conference was just as enjoyable. Even though a football team is normally led by a quarterback, receiver Penny Hart displayed why he was chosen as team captain by coming to his quarterback's rescue.
Continue to.
Yeah.
What do you think of your improvements so far this week, especially in your first time up?
Still ain't where I want to be at. I had some bad plays today. The fumble. I don't know how I did that one. The drop fumble I made a play out of, but he's trusting us a lot more. As a whole offense, he's doing a really good job of that each and every week. That's what we work on as far as just being able to trust each other, and he's done a really good job of that. I told him that last week. I said we have to be able to trust each other. He's done a really good job of that. He's hard on himself. He should be. I am too. But that's what he's improving on. He's trusting everybody, and that's allowing him to play how he needs to play to get us where we need to be. Thanks, Penny.
Penny Hart is definitely a born leader, showing up to the press conference like he owns the place. And now we are joined by reporter Tyrik Wynn. Tyrik, how you doing, man?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing great, I'm glad you joined us to talk a little bit about Georgia State football. Now, we know you went to the game versus Troy last night.
I did.
Give me some of your takeaways. What did you see? What went on?
Well, everybody was epic. The fans was epic. The players was epic. And it was a pretty great game. That was a pretty good football game. Everybody was out playing their best, and they pushed hard.
What did you see from the players? Who was the highlight from Georgia State's team?
Well, it had to be Dan Ellington. I mean, you talk about 331 yards. I mean, that's something special.
Yeah, I like Dan. Dan really showed that he could spread the ball to all of his receivers. He went 20 for 36 and for 272 yards. But not only that, he also had 19 carries. He rushed for 59 yards. Now, those 59 yards was a big deal. That's a big change to the whole football game. But what about team captain Penny Hart? What do we see from him?
Wow. I mean, you take a look at him. He had 6 catches for 128 yards. I mean, that has to be his favorite target.
Yeah, definitely. I would definitely agree with that. When any chance he gets, Dan is looking for Penny Hart. That was his 10th time in school history going over 100 yards receiving. So, but let's talk about Troy. What about Troy? What did Troy do to really separate themselves from Georgia State last night to get this victory?
Yeah, well, I mean, Troy came out balling. They had 28-23-0 in the second quarter, and opening drives, touchdowns. I mean,
the first two opening drives, they scored on both. Troy really came out, punched the Panthers in the mouth. I don't think they were ready for this offense. I don't think they were expecting the quarterbacks to be as good as they were. I know they played 2 quarterbacks in Barker, who was the second string. He threw and rushed for 111 yards. So it was like It was very crazy to see, and he showed
Yeah.
there that Dan's not the only one that can run the ball. But who do you think was the highlight from Troy's team? What was the highlight for them?
Yeah, shoot, it had to be the running back, BJ Smith, as a matter of fact. He had 17 rushes for 140 yards.
Yeah, big time, big time. Georgia State could not stop the running game, whether it was the quarterback running or whether it was the running back running. Anybody who came out the backfield, Georgia State really struggled with. But what do you think was the turning point in the game? What really turned the game around?
Well, it had to be the turnover. 4th and 6, Georgia State has the ball. Quarterback Dan Ellington throwing it 19 yards for the first down. And the next thing you know, Troy comes, make a turnover.
Yep, 10 yards back the other way.
Exactly.
Yes, definitely a gut check for the Panthers. But, you can't win them all. They played well, even though they were able to put up 20 points late in the game, but still wasn't enough to come away with the win. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Tyrik, to talk a little GSU football. And thank you guys for joining us as well. Make sure you join us next Friday. Stay tuned, and so you can keep up with all your updates on GSU sports. Make sure you like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, and follow us on Twitter at Prime Sportz with the Z.
Have a great weekend.